Hello, hello, hello. How we doing, our viewers today? It's great to be here with you this wonderful, wonderful day. It's a blessed day. Can you all believe it's already the second half of the year? It's just went like that, and I couldn't do this alone. So I just want to just welcome my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful sisters on the Wealth Bridge, Modupe and Adebola. It's great to have you. You guys look stunning. You guys are beautiful as ever. It's great to have you. How you guys doing?
Blessed and highly favored. How you doing, brother?
Awesome. I'm doing great. It's great to see you. How you doing, Adebola?
I'm doing great. It's great to be back. It's great to be back doing this with you too.
All
Wonderful.
right, all right. And our viewers, thank you for always staying in tune with us. We thank you for following us. We thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so, I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit that subscribe bell, share, and like. So today we're going to be bringing you another exciting episode. And today we're going to be talking about credit cards. The benefits, the risk, best practices for immigrants in the United States. And we know if we're not careful, credit card can actually break you. So, but we're going to be, digging down into it. So we just welcome you to today's financial empowerment discussion. So, one of the very first financial to many immigrants encountering the United States is the credit card. While the credit card can be very, very powerful, it could be a wonderful, powerful tool for building financial credibility, accessing opportunities and creating, financial flexibility that can also become a source of debt and financial stress when not properly understood. So this is why we're bringing these. And I know that everybody will be like, why are we talking about credit card? But you know why? It's very, very important because we want to bring you different value. And we don't want you to be stressed financially, especially if you're new as an immigrant. And even if you're not new, you may have not been using credit cards, to your own advantage. So for many immigrants, the concept of credit is very different from what, how we are accustomed to from wherever you're coming from. Most other countries might not adopt the credit card system, but here in the US, credit history can affect where you live, the kind of car you drive,
Mm.
the zip code you live in, your ability to start a business, and even certain employment opportunities. So today we're going to be exploring the benefits, some of the risk, the best practice of using credit cards wisely, so that individuals and families can build a strong financial foundation and avoid costly mistakes. So let's begin. And I'm going to open it up. And now my first question will go to Madupe. You
Mhm.
know, um, why are credit cards so important for immigrants who are new to the United States?
Thank you, Demola. That's a very good question. Now that you're talking about it and we're looking into this topic together, my mind was saying it would have been a nice thing once you step into the port of entry, right? And you get handed a credit card, like, oh my God, you're welcome to America. Here is your credit card for your use. But
That would be
unfortunately, it
nice.
doesn't work like that, right? It doesn't. It would have been a nice thing if that was it, right? But like you said, how important, right, the credit score system is in America because it could either determine an individual's credit worthiness or otherwise. And that's the reason why, the score, which is just a three-digit number between 300 and what, 850, 900, can tell a lender, right? A lender typically to looking at you and just they can tell if you are going to be, reliable in terms of paying back whatever it is they have, loaned out to you. So why are these credit cards important for immigrants who are new here in the US? It helps you establish your credit history because the credit history is something very critical you need to establish here in the US. Unlike many other countries where your financial decisions may just be based primarily on how much you earn or your personal relationship, and or whatnot. Here in the US, it relies typically on the credit scores. And like I said, it will either determine if you're credit worthy or you are not. Now, using the card responsibly, however, allows any typical immigrant, any individual, even any business owner demonstrate their financial responsibility, and they are now at the level or at the pedestal to begin to build a credit profile. Demola touched on it, and I probably will buttress it. Without having a credit history here in the US, it becomes very difficult for you to get as small as rent an apartment. You know, like, okay, you're like, okay, somewhere to just put my head. That's not luxury. That's like a necessity.
Yeah.
Okay. Qualifying for a mortgage, you're like, okay, let me try and get a house of my own. I can't afford the entire amount. Maybe I can put down a down payment. You need a good credit score.
Yeah.
For people who probably go out there and go to the car dealership and wants to get a auto loan, credit scores also come to the light. Even to secure a lower insurance rate, auto insurance, which is what you're going to use. I mean, very critical. You have to comply. If you're going to drive, you need to ensure that your car is insured. So a credit card is often the first stepping stone, something you could use, you could get to ensure that your financial integration and the opportunity you're seeking is sort of intact. I think I'll rest my case on that, and I'll let you, get to the real meat and potato of this conversation. Demola.
Yeah, thank you for shedding some good light on that. And we're going to be shifting gears real quick because now that we've actually established, why it's so important for immigrants to, who are new to, to understand, how these credit cards work, why it's important to have it. It's
Mm-hmm.
also very important for us to understand, the major benefits of credit cards if used correctly. And I want us to just take note if used correctly, because
Mm-hmm.
that could be the beginning of your death in this country if if you're not very very careful. So it's so important for us to understand the benefits if we use it correctly. So, Adibola, could you just chime on some of the major benefits that our viewers, if somebody who's new who wants to be introduced into credit cards, some people might say, credit card Tofu Akpa. No, 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 stop that. There's no Tofu Akpa in using credit card. It's just understanding how it can be used.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Debola, walk us through some of the major benefits of using credit cards correctly.
All right. Thank you for that. Munipe already started, sharing about, building the credit profile and some of the things that you would need um, to put in place. I mean, why you would need some credit card in order to be able to achieve some milestones, or let me say some things that you need here in the US. Like we've said in most of our podcasts, the system matters and you need to understand it. So everything is not just, oh, I don't need it, oh, over my dead body and all that. There are some benefits that credit cards would bring that you have to really consider. And knowing what to do, how to use it, it's the important thing. So many financially successful people use credit cards regularly, and the difference is that they use them as a tool and not just as a source of extra spending, like an
Mhm.
extra money to spend. Don't do that. That is the negative route to take. All right. So one very important benefit is the fact that it's very convenient to carry it around, and secured without you having to take cash with you here and there. So credit card makes it easy to just, you know, carry your wallet, I would say, around, and use money without carrying cash around, and just in the easiest way. But very importantly, in this country, you have to build a strong credit history, like Mudupe mentioned, to be able to achieve some of your goals, some of your dreams of buying a house, renting a place, getting the car insurance and all that. You need to build a strong credit history, and you can only do that with having a credit card. to get easier your loans approved, to be able to have a low interest when you're applying for loan and all that. So you need a credit card. Access to better mortgage and all that, you need a credit card. You need to build that history to be able to achieve that. And you can get a lower mortgage interest rate. And um, another thing is, I believe, is the fraud protection and security. Fraud protection. Credit cards generally offer stronger fraud protection than debit cards. If authorized charges appear, you can dispute this transaction. The card issuer can investigate, and your bank account's balance is typically not immediately impacted. So this added layer of protection can provide peace of mind. I know this is something that immigrants would love. So, and also we have rewards. A lot of credit cards have rewards, some cashback, and some travel benefits. Depends on what you need. The most important thing is not to just have it for just as an extra money to spend. That is something, a misconception, something you need to erase from your mind. All right. So you can use it for emergency, financial flexibility, and even purchase protection benefits and much more. So I'm going to stop there so that we can visit some other things today. Okay, back to
Wow.
you.
Man, I love that. I mean, just hearing all the benefits you just said, it makes me want to go apply for more credit cards. No, no, no.
No.
Act
Really?
responsibly.
Really? Uh,
Act responsibly. Don't go get more credit cards if you don't need it. And
Mm-mm.
it's all. Remember, we talked about using it correctly. So
Mm.
the idea is not just accumulating it. Are you leveraging it for something? Just like you talked about the rewards and all the benefits. It's all about leverage, understanding how the system work, and using the financial tools available to us to actually make life more convenient, make things to be able to build certain things, certain comfort in life. So thank you for all those benefits that you listed out there. The same way they say every coin has two sides. So Mudupe, what would you say, as you enlighten our viewers, are some of the biggest mistakes immigrants make when it comes to using credit cards?
And to be honest, you nailed it. You know how you say when purpose is unknown, abuse becomes inevitable?
Yeah.
I say that's what it is. Many people just new to the system, not again embracing and understanding what this does. They literally get a 10,000, for instance, credit card, and they literally think, oh my gosh, 10,000 is mine. The $10,000 is mine.
Oh
No,
my
it's
God.
not. That is just your credit limit saying we have been given this available amount in case you have a need for it. That is your limit. And for every time you use a portion of this limit, there are credit terms, that are already applied to it, depending on whatever interest you got qualified for, which is also subject to your credit rating, your credit score. So most of the mistakes many immigrants make is thinking that their credit limit is actually their available spending money.
yeah.
It's not.
Not at
So
all.
it shouldn't be treated as such. It is not your asset. As a matter of fact, it's a liability in your name,
Yeah.
right? Waiting to be used up. And when used up, you're being assessed on that amount. Another mistake many people make is the credit card companies also know what they're doing, right? They are not in business to run charity. So they give you that amount for your use at your convenience. You heard everything Debola talked about. And then every single month, every cycle, right? They send you the statement and then they tell you how much outstanding balance you have. They also will tell you what is the minimum amount you should pay. So many people fall for that gimmicks and say, oh, this is the minimum I should pay. And then they go ahead and pay the minimum. What does that do? While the minimum might sound convenient for you to pay at that point in time, but you're literally sitting on a bigger debt. While the minimum payment keeps your account current, so you are not asked to say, hey, you've defaulted. You're on, you're current. It can result into years of debt and substantial interest charges. Again, depending on what it is you got that credit card for. Some people have it for as high as 29%, 27, ridiculous rate. Have you asked yourself how that rate is actually working against you? When you have to take the money for certain things and you have to pay back that amount plus that interest. Let's watch out. Let's watch out. That's the reason why we're having this conversation. Many people are falling victim of this in our community. So we're saying we're no longer going to start doing the same old things over and over again because it's a sheer form of insanity. We need to change the narrative. Many people often will go ahead and open multiple of these cards. 10,000 here, 2,005 there, 5,000 there. Oh my God. And then utilize all of these things. It continues to go down in your favor. So it's giving you more of disfavor than favor before the credit scoring, portfolio. Having multiple of these so quickly also without understanding debt accumulation, how can it impact my finance? It's a great mistake nobody should get into. And there are quite a few others, but these are kind of like, major ones. It's important we talk about it. The goal is not to judge. This platform, this podcast is not to call anyone out. We want to enlighten, we want to educate and say, hey, we've made that mistakes before. Let's step out of it. Let's dust it off. Let's start doing it right. Let's start writing it right. Back to you, sir.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And like you rightly said, all that we're here to do is just educate us, empower us to understand some of all these, financial, tools, some of all the things that, this country affords us. We must understand how the system works so that, we could, we could work the system to our favor. And that's so important. So while still talking about, how, this credit card could impact one negatively, Debola, how does credit card debt affect someone's financial future? Because that's something a lot of people don't talk about a lot. Some people are in credit card debt and it's probably put them in a very bad situation. So, just enlighten us, how this credit cards, how does it affect one, if you start going into debt? How does it affect someone's financial future?
All right. I mean, let's be frank. Just like any kind of debt, nobody really wants to carry, to have that burden of debt, whatever form they come. Credit card debt can have a major impact on a person's financial future. Any kind of debt. So it doesn't matter what's brought it about, especially when balances are carried month to month, month after month, rather, like Mudipe was just saying. Those high interests, and you're just paying the minimum payment due, but whatever it is. So for immigrants, young professionals, even families and anyone trying to build wealth, unmanaged credit card debts can become a significant obstacle, really, a significant obstacle to your to financial freedom. And some of the things that this does is that it reduces your ability to build wealth. Every dollar spent on interest is a dollar that cannot be invested. Remember that. A dollar that cannot be invested or saved or used to purchase any kind of assets. So for instance, someone carries a 10,000 credit balance at 24% interest and only makes minimum payments, like Modipe was just saying. They could end up paying thousands of dollars of interest over time. And I see that in my credit card statement. If you pay the minimum payment alone, it will take you so years to pay it off, and this is what you will have paid, and you think you're just paying. Oh, I only have to pay a little. So instead of investing for retirement, building an emergency fund, or buying a home, starting a business, you are paying interest to the credit card company.
Mm.
So we have to be careful. It's easy money. It's tempting to use it to do different things, but make sure that you are paying it back as soon as possible, and don't
Mhm.
just use it for anything. Use it for things that matters, that you know that this is going to bring in a return. It can also damage your credit score. You don't want that to happen. High credit balances increase your credit utilization ratio, and then lowers your credits. And all those things, all those dreams, all those things that you would only get with a good credit score, now they'll be far to reach.
Hmm.
Mm.
Then the stress comes in. Financial stress, emotional stress, because you have the debt, you have this, credit card companies are after you, or and all that. Anxiety, relationship conflicts, and all those kind of things setting.
Wow.
So many people feel trapped because their income goes towards debt payments instead of future goals. You don't want
Hmm.
that to happen. You don't want your financial opportunities to be limited, or you don't want your goals and dreams to just start disappearing before you because of the effect of you having a debt. That's just a thing.
Hmm.
All right. So let's be careful. Pay off your cards on time. Make sure that you are not using your cards, too much, like at a time. And remember to pay more than just the minimum payment due.
Wow.
Pay more than just the minimum payment due. I'll stop there.
Well, I mean, thank you for that. That was very very explanatory. And if you're finding value for those who are watching us, right now, if you're live with us right now, put some comment. Tell us about what you're going through with your own credit card, or what your how many percentage you paying on your own credit card, or how you using your credit card, or what are some of the best practices that you are taking advantage of. So real quick, Modupe, how can immigrants build credit? If they have no credit, we've established that credit
Mhm.
cards are good. We've established that if you use them incorrectly, then that's when it becomes a burden. It could become stressful financially. But somebody saying, I just came into the country, and I want to build credit. I want to take advantage of all these benefits you're talking about. So how can they build credit if they have no credit history?
That's a very good question, and in fact, it's actually tell it's I'm actually that's actually how I started building credit when I got into this country. So I'm going to just use myself as an example. There is something called a secured card, a secured credit card, which is often a very great starting point. And I came into the country when at a very interesting moment when everything and everything was kind of collapsing during a recession. And so, of course, it wasn't even a good time for somebody coming in, nothing, clean, nothing, no credit history. Yeah. So this is the time where you can speak to your bank, and banks do give that. The money there is going to be your money. So that's like your money, but the bank works with you, and it's called a secured card. And this card require a deposit, but it functions like a traditional credit card. So the money in that account is yours. Okay, the money in there, it's yours, it's your own. However, it will act as if you're using that card to make purchase, and gradually it keeps giving you the points you need here and there. That's a very good way to start up if you're just coming in newly. Some people will try to say, oh, yeah, maybe they want to have somebody co-sign for them. I don't necessarily succumb to that. I will rather, you run your lane, do your thing, and definitely, it should work for you, especially, I mean, if you're just, a single individual. Another option is becoming an authorized, user on a family member's account, which is one of the things I tell, parents. You've established a good credit score, you've established a good credit history. We might want to give our children who are already knowledgeable, who are already, at that point in time, we could give them a good start in life, right? Those things that we probably didn't get an opportunity for. So if you have a credit score that's going to what, 800 and something, you can imagine adding your child on a credit card for the family,
Mm,
right? You're giving that child a good head start. Now, it's just not giving a child who is irresponsible. Okay, that's why it's emphasized the child ought to have known what he or she is doing. And of course, consistent on time payment. I have a philosophy: if you're going to use that card, let it be a purchase you need. So you've already, you have the money for it. You make the payment right there, right there. So it's counting for you and you're not having to pay a lot of interest on it. And there are quite a few cards out there whereby they have some plans and they tell you, you know, you make a purchase based on a particular amount and you don't have to be charged interest for a long extended time, maybe 18 months, maybe 1 year. So that's a good one, right? You can plan accordingly and shop right so that you can get things, in the way and the manner in which you want. So first and foremost, coming newly here, get a secured card. Many
awesome.
banks will provide that, to individuals. I started doing that. I mean, when I got into this country, and it was from there I did, yeah, accountability time, transparency time. I started my credit building using a secured credit card. So that's very possible.
Right. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. With that, I know we're running, short on time. Adebola, any last words that you'd like to share with our audience with regards to, using these two correctly, the right way, or anything that pops to mind when it comes to credit cards.
I'm just gonna say that you know, a good credit habit, will help you to keep more of your money, access opportunities at lower cost, like we've talked about, and also accelerate your ability to build assets. That's
Mm,
one thing. And you know, it also reflects your strong financial habits. I mean, financial habits, having a good credit, which is the main reason why you need a credit card in the first place. All
Begin
right.
with.
mm,
A person can have an 800 credit score and still have little savings or investment. So that's to
mm,
let you know that credit alone will not make you wealthy. However,
Mm-mm.
a good credit habit creates a strong financial foundation. They
right.
help you, borrow wisely when necessary, avoid wasting money on interest, and also access, all those opportunities that we have mentioned before. So think of it this way: income helps you to earn money. Credit helps you to keep borrowing costs, you know, at a low rate. And then investing will help you to grow the money. And altogether they help you to build wealth.
Wow.
So be wise and act wisely. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, that was, I mean, I want to thank you, both of you. And, just to just conclude this session today, it's very important that, credit card is neither your friend or your enemy. It's just a financial tool. Its
Absolutely.
impact depends entirely on how you use it. So for most immigrants, seeking to build a successful financial future here in the US, understanding credit is not optional,
Mm.
it is very essential. So, start where you are. Learn how the credit works, use credit cards responsibly, pay your bills on time, avoid unnecessary debts, monitor your credit score regularly, make financial education a lifelong commitment. The habits you build today can determine the opportunities available to you tomorrow. We want to thank you all. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on our next episode. Thank you, Modupe. Thank you, Adebola. See you on the next time. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. On our next episode, stay blessed and stay well. God bless you.
Keep winning, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Amen.